Well, Senzo Meyiwa's longtime friend Tumelo Madlala has finally wrapped up his testimony in the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, Botswana. The defense has poked holes in his testimony, questioning the inconsistency of his version of events. Madlala was in the house on the night the soccer star was shot and killed during an alleged robbery in 2014. Now, Meyiwa's friend insists allegations leveled against him are pure lies. My colleague, that's our reporter Silindelo Masikane, has been following this trial since day one. Is joining us now in studio here this afternoon. Silindelo, good afternoon. Well, the adjournment took place a little bit earlier. Court, as I said, now will be back on Monday. But you've been monitoring this trial from the very beginning. Today was a very short session.
Quite a short session indeed, Bradan, but what we saw was Tumelo Madlala wrapping up his testimony, 3 weeks in the witness box in that hot seat, facing quite a grilling from the defense. Today, the state got an opportunity to re-examine Madlala on some of the questions that were asked in cross-examination, just points of clarity, and in particular, of course, what the defense has been quite adamant on is the fact that those who were in the house were not sober when Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed. So how can the court then rely on the accuracy of them accounting what happened that evening, saying that we don't know how much they drank. We know that evidence was tampered with. In fact, we know that the crime scene was cleaned. The amount of cans which were found at the crime scene, alcohol cans, does not correlate with the amount that was consumed in terms of what we know that Madlala consumed in particular. We know that 2 cans of alcohol were found at the crime scene, but Tumelo admits that he had at least 3 to 4 beers, and at that point, if the police have only found 2 cans of alcohol, then the question is what happened to the rest of the cans, and if so, that means that the crime scene, something had happened to some of the evidence that was there. So one of the questions that was posed to Madlala was around the cans of alcohol, because it seems the defense wants the court to consider the fact that those who were in the house may have been drunk, and so their account may not be that accurate. Let's take a listen.
As you were drinking, what happened to the cans, to the empty cans?
Ngesikhathi niphuza ke lamakane besiniwaphuzile lawa empty kwenzekeni ngawo ngokuthi ke uadvocate uMsholo ukhuluma ukuthi ke amanye amakane wayeseyisusiwe ngesikhathi amaphoyisa sekafika lapho ngokuthi kule ithombe nawo njengoba uzibonela enkantolo kuvela amakane amabili. So kwenzekeni ngalamakane amanye la bese niwaphuzila empty.
Le eyamakana angifuni ukugama ngiyazi indaba yayo ngoba njengoba sasiphuza ngithi utshwala babekwe fridge. So babileke blande fridge. So mase kwenzeke lento angazi the rest amamakani ayako because bese ngingekho mina besambisa usenze isibhedlela. So angazi kwasala kwenzakala.
About the issue of the cans, really I don't want to lie about it as to what had happened about the cans, because as we were drinking this alcohol, some of it was kept inside the fridge. So as to what happened with the cans after consuming them, after we have went to the hospital, I cannot tell, because we took Senzo to the hospital.
No, we're referring to the time when you were drinking, where the cans left, for instance, to pile up, to lie there, or what was the position?
Sikhuluma ngesikhathi niphuza ngisho nijabulisa ukuthi lamakani beniwabeka lapho nje ukuthi amana ahlale lapho noma bokwenzakani ngawo.
Angisakhumbuli ukuthi awubani bebaxoxa or angisakhumbuli kahle.
I don't remember who was collecting them water. Don't remember.
Well, Mr. Madlala, Silindelo has been on the witness stands for quite some time. I mean, the whole of this week started last week. This was week 2. What kind of witness has it turned out to be?
Well, no, speaking to legal experts, and in fact, some of the accusations coming from the defense, Bradan, is that they've labeled him an evasive witness, someone with a selective memory, somebody who doesn't directly answer the questions that are asked of him, quite argumentative. In fact, for those of us inside the courtroom, you can even sense a bit of an attitude with Madlala. But some legal experts we've spoken to say that Tumelo Madlala has done nothing, in fact, for the state's case because his testimony at this point is quite questionable. His credibility has been questioned as well because we know he was paid for a Netflix documentary, and he's admitted that he didn't share the money not only with Senzo's children but not even with the family, and the defense saying, but you know, this was your best friend and you know he had children. Why isn't it that you would want to share this money? And he was saying that this is my money, it was my pictures. So, you know, trying to question or put into question the kind of character that Madlala is. So, you know, let's just take a listen to some of the analysis from legal experts who have been listening to Tumelo Madlala's testimony and their characterization of the kind of witness that he is.
I think the apt and most accurate assessment or characterization of his testimony, in my own view, is that he was the most evasive witness ever. He didn't come across as a credible person. He answered questions with questions. He failed to stick to his guns in terms of the consistency of the version. And he was caught out by both defense counsel, who pointed out inconsistencies with regard to his earlier statements vis-a-vis what he would have said when he gave the doc identification. And without preempting what the judge's final take on his testimony may be, my best bet is that not too much weight would be attached to his testimony on account of his own deportment, his own reluctance to answer simple questions, and wanting to direct the defense or telling the defense what questions he is prepared to answer. So I don't think he assisted the state's case in any significant manner, to be frank.
It's legal expert there, Zola Majavu. Now, Silindelo, what happens next? I mean, Monday, we expect a continuation. Do we have an idea who will be on the witness stand, for example?
Of course, come Monday, we are seeing a new witness, the state's fourth witness that will be in the witness box. Who that will be, Dan, I can't say for now. Maybe I do know, maybe I don't. But of course, suggestions out here, you know, if you want to take a guess, you know, it could be somebody else in the house. Speaking to legal experts, they say, you know, the state would want to bring somebody who's going to corroborate Madlala's story, but also we could see forensic evidence, perhaps. And some experts around ballistics or the crime scene itself. So it still remains to be seen at this point. Perhaps the defense at this point does know who will be up next. I know our colleague Sally had a conversation with Longwetwala's father, Chico, who had indicated himself that his son has received a call from investigators to prepare himself. So at this point, it remains to be seen. Only come Monday will we know who exactly will be the next state's witness.
Yeah, again, 2 points you are making the clear, Silindelo, is it will have to be somebody either who's going to be backing up Madlala's story, so it will have to be somebody who's inside the house in that regard, or if it's forensics. I mean, Sergeant Musia, right at the beginning, his testimony was not great at all in terms of the examination of the crime scene. But Monday is not far, 2 days away. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much. Silindelo Masikane, who's of course doing a brilliant job covering the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. And in fact, she did sit down with Sergeant Musia in an exclusive interview the other day about his experience in investigating the killing of Senzo Meyiwa in 2014, and of course being in the dock when he was testifying in the trial.